Hello, welcome back to the Caring Conversation studio, live at the Care Show London. We're here with Lee.
Hello, how are we doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, really good, really good. Always good to be out in London at the Care Show. So, first ever Care Show London, excited. I remember this was my first event back in 2014 when
Wow.
it was the Health Plus Care Show. So, yeah, holds a special place for me. So,
Nice,
yeah,
right.
Delighted to be here.
So we're going to talk about mental health today. What are your thoughts on mental health in the workplace? What are you thinking? What are you saying?
It's probably one of the biggest kind of problems that we've got, especially in the care sector, because if we look at the care sector staff in general, it's people who are almost on the breadline and not kind of like they haven't got a lot of buffer zone, so they haven't managed to save money if the car breaks down or that rainy day happens. So obviously there's a lot of pressure on that. The job that they do, there's a lot of mental health pressure on that as well. So, I mean, I think it's one of the biggest problems facing the care sector is looking after our people so they can look after the service users properly.
So, yeah, I think, when you look at people in the care sector, and especially a lot of sort of carers, and, ultimately they don't get paid enough, which we know. But, when you're in that scenario where, you're in a job that can be quite high pressure, because you are responsible for people's well-being, and to then when something happens, like something breaks down, and that money pressure that adds that. I think the care worker, obviously you wear a care worker's charity badge. I think it's a great tool. Have you heard about their? They've got counselling service that people that work in care can.
Yeah, so Co-workers Charity do a lot, obviously. There's a lot of grants, definitely worth a visit to their website. There's a lot of sorts of other organisations out there, but like you say, mental health doesn't care. It's indiscriminate, so we can look at celebrities, we can look at sorts of people like Gary Speed, and we can look at Chester from Linkin Park. Obviously, when you listen back to the Linkin Park lyrics, you can see they suffered from mental health at some point, but there's a difference. I mean, God rest his soul, Linkin Park, one of my favourite bands ever, but there's a difference between someone of the status of Chester who can go through a bad mental health period and take 6 months, 12 months off work without missing a beat, to a carer who just doesn't have that luxury. They don't have that comfort. They can't say, that's it, my mental health's bad, I need to stop working for even 2 weeks would probably financially cripple a carer. So there's that on it. And if you look at have you seen the Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
No.
So I'll see if I can post something on LinkedIn a little bit later, but it's basically a pyramid that you've got your kind of like basic needs at the bottom, so food, shelter, and then as you move up the pyramid.
Oh yeah, okay, I know what you mean, yeah.
And it was first put together in, I think, 1942, something in the 40s anyway, and it's never been more sort of relevant today. There's, like I say, people who cost of living is just ridiculous. I think everyone feels the pinch, let alone carers who, like I say, not all of them are paid the most. So having that financial pressure is crazy, as well as because the nature of the job they do, people don't come into care to get rich. They do it because they care. So when they've got a client who might deteriorate, then that's going to be a big impact on their mental health as well. Then they've got their own financial cost of living, other mental health implications as well, and the fact that the system's quite broken it's a bit of a tricky time, isn't it? But it's something that we need to talk about a bit more.
Well, I think and this sort of leads quite nicely into the work you guys do, right? Like where actually sometimes companies just aren't getting the basics right in terms of like a rostering system, for example, where if you're running a care home or a home care company where you're still using a paper-based system to schedule people's work, that creates a huge pressure point because it can't easily be changed because they've got to go or they've got to call up, get permission. So I use a rostering system where people can swap their shifts about and change things about. They can communicate with each other, which just gives people the opportunity to manage their own life a bit with a bit more flexibility and a bit more freedom. That allows you as an organisation to offer that, and I think it's really important. Do you want to talk a bit about around that, just what companies can do to help?
Yeah. So I think just allowing the carers to self-serve, but not only that, it's about matching the carers with the clients they like. Obviously, we know that the client's needs come first, but I was doing a talk with Nurse Buddy yesterday where 71% of carers said that when they had visits with clients that they liked, that they had a more impactful day. They felt better after finishing work. So I think if carers can be matched up with the clients that they like, then that will be sort of huge. But I think, like I say, there's, like say, health automated architecture allows the carers to pick and choose the shift. So if they need to grab a shift or change it, they need to communicate with the office, then it can be done there. So again, just allowing that communication just a little bit more freer than maybe going on to WhatsApp, and we've all seen the horror story with WhatsApp.
Well, I mean, I think you see kind of a lot of companies going, oh, we're going to, introduce this well-being app or something, these things like that, when actually they haven't got the basics right in a lot of cases. You need to get those fundamental basics right to make sure that people sort of understand where they need to be, when they need to be there, how much they're going to get paid for it, what they're going to take home. That they understand that they got space to, if they need to be sick, that they can be, and they can do that with permission. So. Yeah, I think it's quite an interesting sort of area, isn't it?
Yeah, because it all starts at the top, doesn't it? Because it's all well and good getting these answers, and these answers are great if the leadership at the top is right. But if the leadership at the top is a little bit sexist, maybe a little bit racist, a little bit mental healthist, then
mental healthist
is that a word? I don't know.
Probably not.
Neurodiverse.
It's just been invented today by you.
Yeah. There you go. Copyright. But yeah. If the person getting the answers is kind of like not that interested in people, then they're going to go, but that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. So it all starts at the top, and having a good leader, when a good leader gets those answers that they might not like, it might be a little bit uncomfortable for them, but I know me as a leader, and I know that you as a leader would get those answers, and it would wound us. Because we like to see ourselves as good leaders, we like to do the best for our people, but we do the right thing with those answers. We'd like, right, okay, so people have reported an increase of 50% in mental health when they're not with clients that they like. What can we do about that? And then we change it. But if the leadership at the top is toxic, then it will always kind of drip down from the top.
What have you got a top tip for sort of helping? Obviously, everybody manages their mental health in a different way. You got a top tip for how you do you?
I think it's, for me, it's just finding something that you like to do. So I like to go for a walk after work, because being homework most of the time, then it's quite easy to finish work at 5 and then go upstairs and sit on the sofa, and there's no disconnect. So going for a nice long walk around the estate is nice.
So building a little commute to your...
Yeah, just building a little commute, building that in, and just kind of breaking it up with a little bit of nature. And I think weirdly enough, I love ironing. And that's my kind of like, if I'm feeling stressed, anxious, I just take loads of shirts that are like really creased, iron them. And it just helps somehow, I'm not sure why. I spoke to, speaking of co-workers charity, I did a panel with Carolina a long time ago, about 2 years ago now, and she said that her reprieve from mental health is pressure washing. Yeah. She loves pressure washing the patio. Yeah. Makes her feel better. Whatever works for you, do it. Not one size fits all. Yeah.
Well, I've got one final very important question for you. What's your favourite alternative milk?
Oats? Is that a bit boring?
Well, it's up to you. It's your preference, right?
Yeah. I did say oat, not goat.
Yeah, oat, not goat,
No, and that is mainly because I don't drink much milk, so I have black coffee generally. So the missus has oat milk, so it's in the fridge, so by default.
Done. It is the life of convenience, right there.
There you go. Definitely.
Thank you very much for coming in, Lee.
Cheers.
Good to
Always
see
a pleasure.